It's hard to argue that the Lake District isn't the most beautiful part of England. With its luscious landscapes, its magnificent mountains, and, its lakes. But in this travel documentary, I'm going to explain to you what it's like to live here for 8 months. 8 months of isolation, tourists, and a lot of rain. I'm Sean, and this here is Holly. We moved here at the start of the tourist season, and we were moved by its beautiful location. There was something fantastic about living in such a wonderful place where others would have to spend their holiday allowance just to see it. And we were getting paid to be here. It was the best of both worlds. So, what was the first 7 weeks like?
The season was starting as we got here, but it wasn't peak. Schools were still in, so we got to actually see it before the swarms began.
And what followed for the first 7 weeks was beautiful sunshine. It didn't go below 20 degrees, and it felt like a holiday that wouldn't end. Them 7 weeks took us from being tourists to travellers to being locals. We know the bus routes, we know the roads, we know Keswick High Street inside and out. Give me a pencil and I'll be able to draw you it. Tell us a little bit about Keswick.
Keswick. When we first came down, we thought Keswick was massive because we had it in our head that we were staying in the middle of nowhere, as we've often said. So we're like, oh, the next town up is going to be tiny, because we'd been before, and we went to Grasmere, and Grasmere's like a strip 2 rows of a town. So Keswick is like a metropolis compared to that. I like Keswick, but I couldn't stay in Keswick itself because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
And it's almost always busy during the season. Like, it's cool, it's got like a market, and you can go down to the lakes, and there's the boats, and there's a lot to do in the area of it. And there's a theatre, and there's a lot of stuff we've not done.
Yeah.
We haven't stepped foot in the boats, but that's because they're expensive.
We have got a favourite shop.
Snazzy Jumper, yeah. Concord Trading,
yeah.
I think it's called. It's on Lake Road in Keswick. And we've went in it every single time we went to town. Every single time. Because it's like a little pocket of joy. I don't know why. Like, I can't explain it to you. You'd have to go and see it for yourself. But we love patches. We've always collected them. We've never collected one from there, but if you're here and you're bagging fells, we've got one.
We've got a favourite coffee shop in Keswick.
Java. It's good, it's tiny. You will have to wait, more than likely. But the staff are so efficient.
7 weeks ended, and so did the sunshine. This was replaced with summer school holidays, lots of tourists, and lots of rain. And what was it like when the swarms began?
Yeah, don't go to the Lake District in the summer holidays. That's just my opinion.
During the summer holidays, we would rarely go out and explore the Lake District. the bus of the 555 was packed full of tourists. This bus took you to Ambleside and Windermere. The only days we'd get a chance to get on this bus would be the days where it was so miserable that the hardened tourist would even avoid it. Tell me your thoughts on the buses.
They're not bad. Come from a place where they say they're going to be every 10 minutes. They're not. The buses here, which are every half an hour, now every hour, are more reliable, even though you're at risk of concussion. That's the only downside of the buses. You're in the UK, which, yeah, it's a great, like, I don't know why as a country, full stop, United Kingdom as a country, think open top buses are a good idea.
The Sea-Toller bus always brought us joy, because 9 out of 10 times this was an open top bus. On the sunny days, we'd sit up the top, the wind would go through our hair, we'd look out to the Borrowdale Valley, have a lovely view. Us and the locals would be sitting on the right side of the bus, the tourists on the left. The reason for this is because all the locals were once tourists that sat on the left side of the bus and got hit by the branches. Open top buses are lovely. You get to see lovely views and then get hit by trees.
I mean, you can sit on the wrong side.
Lovely views, hit by trees. Yeah, I know. As much as the buses took you ages to get anywhere in the Lake District, they were brilliant because they take you near enough everywhere. Due to the lack of parking in the Lake District, this is probably the easiest and best bet for getting around. Where would you say the best place to live in the Lake District is, if you was to get a living job?
Well, if you don't want to be stuck, you're better staying in a town, like Ambleside or Grasmere. But if you're wanting to actually save money, Borrowdale Valley is your best bet.
We did much more than travelling around the Lake District. We both had a job here. Holly's was front of house. She'd serve breakfast, dinner, sometimes on the bar, housekeeping, and lots of other jobs too. Where mine, I was a chef, and this was my first chef job ever. This role was basic at times, making sandwiches, chopping veg, but sometimes I'd make stunning starters, help plate incredible main courses, if I say so myself. So what was your work like while working here?
I don't know, it wasn't easy. It's hard graft, but it's rewarding. Like when you're done work, you step out of it and you're in a holiday area, really. You're reminded where you are and what you're doing it for.
Right.
As much as we're here to save money for a holiday, we're actually doing it in a place where people save to visit.
Yeah.
So making every bed I made, every dinner I served, I was helping people on their holiday to get on the path to mine. It's strange.
The work was never hard, but living and working in a place is draining at the best of times. Learning how to shut off and dealing with other living staff can be a nightmare. But it was all worth it. Getting paid over minimum wage and only paying £25 a week for rent. And this also included breakfast and dinners, and the fact there was nothing else around you to spend your money on. Well, apart from if you want deliveries, you pretty much save most of your wage. Did you save a lot of money?
Yeah. I don't think you could be here and not save money, personally.
We were able to save up enough for our next big trip. I'm talking thousands of pounds. But this did come with sacrifices. What's it like living in the middle of nowhere? What?
Make sure you're with someone that you want to spend time with, otherwise you'll murder them. But it's fine because you're in the middle of nowhere and no one will know.
Well, I'm actually a bit scared holding this camera right now.
No, I always from a young age said I could never live in the middle of nowhere. I always said I'd have to be at least in a suburb of a city. I didn't think I could do there's no shop nearby, there's no like restaurants or even phone signal. I always thought I'd be one of those people that would have to heavily rely on it. Now, we are in a place where we do have Wi-Fi, so we're not completely cut off from the world, but we have been when there's been blackouts.
Yeah. Living in essentially a hotel room in the middle of nowhere with someone else can be hard going at times. The little things about them start to bug you, especially when you haven't got anything to do with your time. My love for filming and video editing was a lot harder to do here than first expected. Seeing the same beautiful areas doesn't make the most creative content, but boredom does create new ideas. Holly spent her time making new crocheting projects. I decided to embrace the feeling of travelling together and the annoyance of it. This was the start of our travelling podcast, Travel Troubles.
Hey guys, I'm Holly and that's Fatty. I couldn't wait 5 minutes to have a bit of cake. Did you enjoy that? Mm-hmm. Go on. Say the intro then, Shum. What is it, Travel Troubles?
Hi guys, welcome back to Travel Troubles. I'm sure.
You've still got cake in your mouth.
I'm sure this is Holly.
Holly's got a cough.
I've kind of bit the inside of my mouth and you somehow shoved that in my mouth.
Which didn't just keep us entertained, it kept our family, our friends, and our followers all updated on our travels and our week. We now have over 1,000 views on this podcast, and it's a permanent feature on our YouTube channel.
Can't you pick a favourite place in the Lake District?
Because it depends. Is it sunny outside?
It's a beautiful day in the Lake District.
Well, then I'm going round Lake Buttermere.
It's a rainy day in the Lake District. Where are you going?
Nowhere. Rainy day in the Lake District, we are going to Bowness on Windermere because it's the only way you can get there. If you've ever experienced the 555, you'll understand. You can't get anywhere. Well, you can, but you have to be persistent. That's the one thing that my brain has trained me to be whilst living in the Lake District. If you need to get on that bus, you were getting on that bus, but you must be persistent because it's either a sea of school children or it's a sea of pensioners, and there's no in between.
The kids' summer holidays ended, the season started to end, and the leaves started to change. Seeing the changing leaves on the trees, this gave us a bittersweet feeling. We know that our time here is now numbered. We feel we could have done more with our time, but we also feel like we've done enough.
What have I taken for granted?
Yeah.
Probably where we are. It's weird, but we are in the middle of the Borrowdale Valley. Arguably one of the most beautiful valleys in the Lake District. And you forget sometimes when you're so bogged down with work, and you, as much as I say that we always have this in mind, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're working 8 days in a row and it gets monotonous and you lose sight. So you don't appreciate what you actually can see on your front door, which people travel all over the world to see, and then you kind of dismiss it. You forget that, you know, the mountain that we got 3/4 of the way up, people actually go out of their way to do it. We accidentally ended up there.
Only just the other day, we decided to climb our first mountain together. It was a spare of the moment idea. We were on a walk and we just turned it into an adventure. Yet we only made it 3/4 of the way up the mountain and had to turn back due to the running out of the daylight. But it felt like we learnt something from it. Something that made us want more, to come back and complete it. This is exactly what we want from our whole experience. We want to come back to the Lake District and live here once again. Next time with a new car and explore more.
Tell us about the floods and the Game of Thrones winter is coming style of the talk in the Borrowdale Valley.
We got here in May, and we knew what we were to expect in November. Yeah, your last month here will be great, but you might not be able to get out. It's going to rain every single day, which it hasn't so far. As much as I said isolation's great, it's not when you're waiting on a Tesco shop or an Asda shop, and you're essentially surrounded by a moat.
We finally got to see what all the locals had been moaning about for the whole of the summer season about the Borrowdale Valley. The floods and the rain. We heard rumours such as It's going to rain so hard here that you can't get in or out. The rain did come, and it did block off the road. And it was an incredible sight to see. The Borrowdale Valley is still beautiful when very wet. Before we come back and explore what more the Lake District has to offer, we have one massive journey ahead of us, where we explore Australia and many different parts of Asia. Subscribe to watch us on this journey, listen to our podcast, or even wait for us to get back to show you more hidden gems of the Lake District. We will see you again soon.